The Bite Me podcast is coming right up, and it is brought to you every week right here on YouTube by Freedom Boats. It is the best shallow running boat on the water, and there is a model perfect for you. The Chiquita 14, the Eagle 16, the Patriot 18, the Commander 21, the beautiful Warrior like I have 23, or the big boy that runs so shallow, the General 26. Chet Moore and Pooty can customize it however you'd like, and there's a dealer near you, whether it's the Boatyard in Kemah or dealerships in San Antonio, Beaumont, Corpus Christi, Port O'Connor, Houston, and Aransas Pass. Freedom Boats or freedomboatsusa.com. All right, here we go. Bite Me podcast is here for you, and we are covered with topics today. Lots to cover. John Lopez right here, Captain Scott Knoll right there, Captain Caleb McCumber in front of us as well, and Captain Dean Thomas. I think he's out at the ranch doing ranch stuff. He has been, speaking of covered up, he has been working his butt off out at his ranch. So we're going to handle it for you today. Kind of an old school Bite Me podcast for a while there. Dean wasn't a regular member here, and it was Captain Caleb, Captain Scott, and myself. And we do have things to cover. A lot of stuff off the Bite Me group page, which is always good. Good community there. So you can join the Bite Me group page by just searching Facebook. Just search Facebook, look for Bite Me or my name, John Lopez, and you can probably find the group. And of course, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. iTunes, Spotify, and of course Podbean, which we recommend because you can get every episode we've ever done right there. But I usually start with where the captains were, how they did, what they saw. But I actually, as much as we've texted this week, I don't even know if you guys were out on the water this week.
What I did is a secret. I ain't telling nobody.
Okay, that's not how this works. I mean,
I walked in the boat shop today. I stepped in the door, and the dude at the front, bless his heart, he tells me where everybody's been fishing and catching redfish. Mm-hmm. And of all the places he listed, one of them wasn't where I've been. And he's like, "What about you?" I was like, "I ain't been catching shit." Nothing.
So in other words, you have been.
Listen, it's the same verse. Next is the first, or however the heck it goes. Mm-hmm. The cold front blew in, the water got cold, it got a little bit lower. They're schooling up in shallow water where shrimp are present. Mm-hmm. Period. There's no secrets about it.
And that's a good thing. I mean, that's something that people can just do, kind of falling out, literally, like they say, fall out of your boat and catch some fish.
Made me put the 12 gauge back in the closet.
Okay. And Captain Scott, were you on the water? Usually like I said, we were texting, but I didn't even know if you were out there this week.
Yeah, I was out there, and as long as it was good. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And the wind was blowing 900 miles an hour and got cold. And yeah, I quit when it got cold and windy.
Yeah.
But, prior to that, it was smoking.
Yeah.
I sent you the videos of the tails and all that.
Oh yeah.
We had some really good tailing. I had a cameraman on the boat, which usually spells doom. But I mean, honest to God, after we did the show Wednesday, I ran out and I went to one of my little tailing areas and said, check on it, see how it is. Pulled up, shut down, and literally looked over at about, 20, 30 yards. There's an entire giant school, tails up, waving like crazy, telling the camera guys, you might want to get a little hurry on there, because he was kind of fiddling with his stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey man, you might want to get ready. Mm-hmm. And I laid him out on the bow and just poled into those schools. There was, 8 or 9 schools in this cove, and they were all tailing really good. And we just poled from one school to the next, and him shooting at water level. He got some fantastic footage. He turned right at, looked at me, and said, "This is National Geographic kind of stuff here, man. This is cool."
Caleb, I know you want to weigh in, but what was it for? So we can be on the lookout for it.
Oh, it was for Nomad Lures.
Okay.
They got some new stuff coming out, and they'd asked me if I'd take them out and try it out on some redfish and see how it works. And it works very, very well. I was quite impressed.
Mm-hmm.
See, little known fact about Scott, John, is he can't stay out when it's cold and windy because it triggers his instincts. to go start making toys and hooking up his reindeers.
It is that time. Hey, man, you want a little extra cash? Especially with your reading glasses on, for sure, for sure. I don't know what the Santa Claus market is like in Port O'Connor, but you would definitely corner the market, no matter what.
I don't know if he can be jolly.
There is that. Go ahead. Oh, I thought you were raising your
He
hand.
waved with a different finger.
You were raising with another finger.
I did raise my hand.
We won't talk about that. So are you guys, did you guys get the Bite Me gear I sent you? I've been meaning to ask you. I'll just bring it to the air because listeners have been asking about that too.
Yes,
We
we did.
All right, good. Yeah, you can get those hoodies and everything on there. So I'm on the group page. They're pinned. So I mentioned the Facebook page. Let's start right here before we get into some of the other topics like skinny boat, light on brains. Yes, that is a topic. And Corkys, which Caleb, pressure's on you, man.
Oh boy.
When we get to the Corky topic, because a lot of people want to know. But let's start with this whole drone thing that has been making the rounds. If you are an outdoorsman, a fisherman, you've probably seen posts and comments, and you're going to get thrown into jail, and this and that. I'm going to start with Scott on this one, simply because I did see your most recent posts on our group page, kind of clarifying it, then a comment on another one. Let's just kind of go like beginning to end here. What happened and what the reality is of it, Scott.
Okay. The FAA, or the Federal Airborne Hunting Act, and that's federal law from the 50s. Basically what it was for was to stop people from flying in, say in Alaska, flying around in the remote wilderness, sitting down and going and shooting an animal that they spotted from the air. That was the intent of the law in the beginning of it. Of course, things have changed a little bit since the 50s. And so now we have drones. Everybody was asking Parks and Wildlife, like they asked us,
about a year ago.
I mean, we were always getting that question about using drones to spot fish. It's illegal. You can't use drones to spot game, deer, fish, whatever. The only exception they've made for that is spotting pigs, and that's because they're like roaches. And so everybody asking about it, they sent it to their legal staff and wanted clarification on what the law entailed. When the legal staff got it, legal staffs do what legal staffs do, and they wet their pants and say, "Oh yeah, I think it involves this," just to cover their butt.
Yeah,
That's all that is. And they came back and said, "No, you can't use it to drop baits." For those of you that don't know, there's drones out there that you can have that fly out, carry a payload, and drop it as far offshore as you want to drop it, I guess.
a lot of shark fishermen do that, right?
Yeah, it's all shark.
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably 95% of what's going on, if not 100% of it. So it's not a state law, it's a federal law. Well, as soon as they came out with that clarification on it, and all hell broke loose, and Parks and Wildlife caught some smoke over it, and they walked it back. The most recent one that I saw was Texas Game Wardens and Coastal Fisheries, Parks and Wildlife post updated. Basically, they said if someone chooses to use an unmanned aircraft system, a drone, to deploy bait while bank or surf fishing, it is a federal, not state level violation. No state charges would be incurred. No state charges exist. However, we do not condone or authorize violating federal law. So basically they're saying, yeah, it's against the federal law, but we ain't gonna do anything about it.
Yeah.
That it's the same thing states do with marijuana all over the place. It's still a federal offense. You can't do it, but the states are allowing it, and it's the same kind of deal. It's states' rights versus federal law. And if the state's not going to get any pressure on it, then you're fine. Don't go to a national seashore like Padre Island and do that. National parks, drones are already illegal. You can't fly a drone in Big Bend in the national park part of it. The state park, I don't know how they handle that, but any of the national parks, you can't fly drones. So that didn't change anything as far as South Padre Island goes, which was where a lot of the shark fishermen are at. I don't know how they're getting around that, but I wouldn't go down Padre Island and go fly in a drone after all this stink, because there are federal game wardens on that island.
And more so there, right? Because it's a federal
Right.
park.
Yeah, you ever as comment came up, I've never seen a federal game warden. Yeah, go duck hunting on a federal property.
Yeah, you'll see
you will meet a federal game warden real quick.
You don't know if you saw them.
That's true.
They're not wearing a shirt that says Fed on it.
Yeah.
It's just a game warden with more power.
The game warden that used to get us all the time out in Anahuac on the pace track of Anahuac Wildlife Refuge, legal duck hunting and all that, but he would come up and he was just an old fellow that just walked along out there in the marsh in hunting clothes with a lab. And he would walk that dude could walk the marsh, man. He was like 110 years old, but he walked everywhere, and he'd just walk up to your group and he'd just be kind of wandering around. You'd be walking back from duck hunting, going back to your boat, and he'd just kind of wander up and meet you. Dogs start sniffing for ducks, hidden ducks in your stuff. And the whole time he's, hey, federal game warden, he'd flip his badge out and he'd start checking you, man. And those guys will check you hard.
Yeah.
And he went over everything. The only time he ever caught us, one of my buddies, when they first started steel shot, we're all cops. We're all young cops.
Yeah.
And he said, just reach in your bag, boys, and pull out a handful of shells. Just random. So everybody reaches in their bag, pulls out a handful of shells. He takes a magnet out of his pocket, big strong magnet, starts running it over all the shells. Didn't pick up one of my buddy's shells. That's lead shot. You're on a federal wildlife refuge. That's a ticket, boy.
Oh, boy.
He didn't care. We were police officers. He didn't care nothing. He's sitting there writing that ticket out. My buddy Ashby was so wound up, man. He was hot.
Yeah.
Don't you ever, if I ever catch you driving through Houston, that's a damn ticket on you.
He didn't care.
The guy looked at me, he goes, I don't go to Houston.
That reminded me one time, the last time, because you guys know if I have any time off, I'm fishing, but I've occasionally gone hunting. Last time I went duck hunting, it had been so long since the time before. I just grabbed my bag, put some shells in there, and went hunting. And I used the right shells, but when I got home, at the bottom of the bag was all kinds of lead shot in there. So if he'd have done that to me and I just reached in and grabbed the wrong one, and I had no intention. I put all the steel shot in there. I did it all right, but just because
it was teal season, we had dove hunted the day before.
Yeah.
And lead's legal on doves. And he had one. We emptied his whole bag out. He didn't have not one other lead shot in there. He grabbed the only one that was in there.
Oh boy.
Me and Pat were fishing the championship weekend of the Legends, where we were trolling down the land cut, and a federal game warden came and boarded us like a pirate. Took all of our IDs and ran background checks on it. It was like a 30-minute deal during a tournament. Not only was it a fed, but they had a trainee with them, so he was being extra fed.
Yeah.
If there's anything to be learned from this, though, I don't know how people survive these days. The population is going downhill. Why did we start asking questions in the first place? Why did you rely on the same nerds that make suppressors hard to get to tell you what to do with something they have no idea? Of course, they're going to come back with a CYA. Oh yeah, no, you can't do it. And
well, yeah.
And next, how many people use these damn things? I've never seen one in the wild. My booth is usually set up by the booth that sells them. I've never seen one bought. I know for a fact.
You're talking about drones?
Yes. There's like 60% of the people commenting, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." And I'm like, I know you. You own a boat. You don't even have one of these.
Yeah. Well, that I'm glad you asked that, because that was one of the things I was gonna get your opinion on, Caleb, because you are whether you know it or not, you are a digital creator. As you see off, have you noticed how many people on their Facebook page, their profile, they say digital creator? There's like 7 million of those people out there. I'm not sure they even know what it is, but you are actually one. and and I was thinking about drones when it comes to what you do when you're out on the water. Now you have used those in that case. Now well, I'll let you explain how and why you can use drones when you're creating content.
Well, I have, and I'll continue to do so. I have been contacted by the game wardens. You can't you and like Scott said, it's a very gray translation. It's the airplanes in Alaska. It's, if you fly into Alaska, you got to wait 24 hours to hunt. Like, these are the things of it. So it's very gray. And I had a game warden. He was a Facebook game warden or something, and he called me. It was probably 6 months into doing my YouTube, and I had been turned in. I had been reported. And what he told me was I can't use them to find the fish and go catch them. And I was like, all right, well, cool. I welcome you to come by my house and we'll talk about whether or not I need a drone to go find a stinking ass redfish. And that was the end of it. Okay. And that's all I ever heard of it. So from what I understand, but they'd have to observe you doing it. And I'm not condoning doing it because I think it's kind of cheap, but they would have to watch you run a drone, put it over a fish, drive over there, and catch the fish. From what I understand.
But we've all seen the video, Scott. There was one on our page, and I left it up. But part of me was like, of like these giant schools, sort of converging in front of a boat, and then you see a guy cast. Well, that had to have been
first off, that's my video.
I don't know if it was yours. I saw it might have been, but I was thinking of another one.
Prove the guy used that to find that massive school of fish.
Right.
One is filming your outdoor activity. One is using it as an aid to, I guess, harass and pursue wildlife.
But isn't the person who's operating the drone on your boat?
Yeah.
See, that's where that's why I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, it's a very gray area. It just depends on what kind of mood and which game warden you get a hold of. It is good to know that they do respond to when you call in a tip at the 1-800 because obviously they want to talk to
Caleb. he was making his list at that time.
Yeah. Scott disguised his voice when he called. But this is John Smith.
Yeah, I can 100% see.
Yeah, now trying to get me a reward.
But you see what I mean, Caleb? Like you are, the best example I have of obviously Angler U and such great content, etc. And I'm not saying you did it. I'm just saying there's such it's like one of those things where if I were a game warden, I saw that video, I'd be like, that's interesting,
Yeah, well, I mean, again, they would have to observe you doing it because let's go past getting the ticket and actually standing up in court. If you can make video on outdoor activity and we were catching fish and we send up to get a video of us catching fish, the game warden says, well, okay, we'll prove it, Green Jeans. I mean, and I'm not trying to start any crap because I made a comment that Matagorda I've never got my fish checked in Matagorda or license checked or nothing. And there's a game warden somewhere listening to the show because by golly, they showed up. So, whoever's in charge of that, this is not a challenge. I do not condone using it to find fish, nor do I use it to find fish. However, I do like to make cool videos, and I'm very much a conservation-based teacher and making it better for everyone. So please leave me alone.
There was a game warden the last time I went fishing, and it was a woman and her partner, and they saw me idling into the marina. And I just kind of did the head down, head bob or whatever. So they started their truck and drove over to where I parked, my boat. And I was like, yes. I was actually excited because I haven't been stopped by a game warden forever, which means this weekend I'm sure to get stopped. But anyway, I was like, yes, I'm perfect. I caught a few fish, released them all. Everything's in order. I'm going to show this guy just how awesome I am. They pulled up right in front of where I parked. And I don't know if they were a listener and they know that I don't keep fish very often, but they just kind of waved and then they backed off and left. I was like, dang, I wanted to show off a little bit. it's almost like they know, like, this guy doesn't look like he's any problem.
Yeah, he don't have any fish. Let's go.
I know it for a fact. One of the guys I went to high school with played. I mean, shoot, we went to junior high together.
Mhm.
He was a supervisor with game wardens. He was over all the Galveston area, and all of his game wardens would just sit there and watch me go by and just wave at me.
Yeah.
And I was like, they never stopped me. They would be sitting in front of greens, stopping every boat coming and going. I'd drive right by them, and they just wave. And I finally caught up with Kevin one day, and I said, "Hey, man, what's the deal here? You know, I'm not complaining that I don't get stopped. I mean, it's cool." He said, "You're in your Poland skiff, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "I told my guys don't even bother stopping Poland skiffs. It's just a waste of time. You guys got all your stuff together. You don't keep any fish, and it's just a waste of time for them to stop them."
Well, whoever I pissed off told Hannah to stop me every day because I got stopped and checked for licenses and everything 4 out of 6 days in a row, dude.
Really?
So if anybody wants to know if Captain Caleb has his paperwork, according to the state of Texas, I'm all right.
Well, next time you get stopped, or any of us get stopped, we need to get their PR director, because we've had a couple requests. We need to get a game warden on the show.
I got one.
You do?
I got a good one, yeah. And his dad was a Fed, so he knows a little bit of both sides.
Yeah, let's hook him up. Send me the information.
Okay.
All right, so let's get to some more topics here. And this one also came from, I guess it was a question off of a Facebook post on our group page, and it became skinny boat, light on brains ? Here's the question. I just bought a Freedom Commander. Good for you. And I'm excited to give it a good break in and test it in waters I couldn't get into before. I've also seen videos where guys are tearing up stuff just because they can get into ultra shallow water. Can you guys talk about how to run it in and out of places, what to avoid, and being responsible? I don't want to be that guy. And you guys, I think that video is still up on our group page where the guy does that big semicircle in like 4 inches of water, and people are videotaping him, and he's like, "Look at me, I can run in this 4 inches," and he's just tearing up the whole damn thing.
The more impressive thing is how fast he gave Dean a hemorrhoid.
What?
that text thread happened fast.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it did. But good question. You know, we're in the era, and I'll start with you on this one, Scott, because we're going to get into Corkys next, and I'm going to give Caleb the stage on that because I trust his Corky knowledge. But Scott, we're in the era of running in 4 inches, running in 6 inches, and being able to get in and out, and the responsibility that comes with that. I hate to just cast aspersions here, but I really think the vast majority of people who get skinny boats truly don't know how to use them right. This is a game changer, people. Show your boat how much you love it. Take it to Gulf Coast Marine Shield. When I say a complete game changer, it doesn't even do justice how much better, more efficient, and gorgeous your boat will be. New boat, older boat, big boat, or small boat. Gulf Coast Marine Shield offers incredible surface protection, from marine protection film to window film, as in your electronics, and ceramic coatings. Your boat will never look better, and it all adds up to complete protection from salt, sand, while helping protect your paint and gel coat. 832-930-5655, Gulf Coast Marine Shield.
There's can you and should you. There's a big difference. All these boats you can run in nothing. I mean, it's possible. You know, the Chuck's prop is out there. You know, anything like that can be misused, and you can get in and out of places all over. You know, that in the past nobody was in. Should you?
Yeah.
That's the big part. And most of the time the answer is no. I mean, I had a guy, it was shallow, the tide was way out, and I'm pulling the shoreline, and this guy, it was dead slick calm. There wasn't a breath of wind anywhere, no reason to run up close to the shoreline. He was literally tickling the grass along the edge of the bank, and he couldn't have been running 3 or 4 inches, 5 inches of water, and running full out down the shoreline right at me. And I'm, you know, it's where we're fishing. I really believe that all this misuse of shallow water boats has been a big part of what's changed redfish.
Mhm.
The only redfish I find schooling these days are in places where nobody runs. They're dead ends, dead end coves, dead end back lakes where people don't run in and out. All of the big open flats that used to hold tons of schools of reds and tailing fish, if it's an open flat where people run down it, I don't see schools anymore.
I I agree with Scott. Shorelines suck.
Mhm.
Whether it's a back lake shoreline, bay shoreline, anything. I that's about the only way to trigger me and get me to say something that I probably shouldn't say about you is watch you burn a shoreline in a back lake or even a bay. That being said, I'm pro if it's navigable, navigate that sucker. Um, it it's hard to articulate it. It's like just use common sense.
Mhm.
Scott, I'm surprised Scott didn't bring this up, but a lot of these back lakes they got a good deep entrance and exit,
Mhm.
and then people see that one little opening, and if they hit it hard enough and fast enough, they get through it. Which, yeah, it's all fun and games for the first year, but then that opening gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and pretty soon it's gone. There's a
Mhm.
lot of back lakes up here in Matagorda that was a real clean come in and out, and it had a good flow to it because of all the little points and everything, and they're all gone now because people cut those corners or blast through openings. So definitely against that. Somebody said something about a mud trail. I leave mud trails everywhere I go. And it's just necessary. But again, I'm not up here in grass. We don't have grass. We're mud and shell. So
Mhm.
what we're worried about is disturbing the fishes day to day, like Scott said. You don't see the schools and the places you used to, and B, eroding shorelines. Though that's the two big ones that really get to us.
Mm.
And I don't see the. And here's the other fun part about it. I learned this in Louisiana. Um, Especially if you're in grass. If you're
Mhm.
burning looking for fish and you're going, I don't know, 17, 18, 20 miles an hour,
Mhm.
a lot of those fish are used to that and they'll sit down in the grass. You're never going to see them in the first place.
Mhm.
You have to be running 25, 30 miles an hour for those fish to not sit down where you can't see them. At that point, it's not effective anyway.
Yeah.
Uh, so I don't particularly get it, you know. And sometimes we are running along. Scott do the same thing. We are running along, and you push one and you see a wake, but once I push two or three and see a wake, I either quit driving where I'm driving, or 9 out of 10 I just shut down and start fishing.
Mhm.
But it's the guys that lap it and run the edges, and all they're doing is out there to look at them.
Yeah.
Cool, but you're screwing it up slowly but surely.
I wonder
And
how I wonder how go ahead.
the dude that did the stuff on the video, like, that's stupid.
Mhm.
That's ridiculous. And to be honest, the boating commercials where it's some dude standing in ankle deep water in a boat blasting past them. Maybe you're not tearing up anything in that video, but you're telling everybody you should buy this boat because this boat will do this. And
This is true.
it is setting that buyer up to get cooked on Facebook is what it's doing apparently.
Scott, I wonder how much burning shorelines is even effective in general, you know? Those fish are getting run out.
And all I hear from the guys that do it is, yeah, we're searching for fish. Well, okay, you're searching for fish, you ran them over, now what?
Mhm.
And most of them have got a tournament coming up, and they wanna burn all the shorelines, figure out where those schools of fish or the the biggest pods of fish locations are, and they don't wanna spend time to go fish and find them. They
Mhm.
just wanna be able to run around and do it. They burn literally miles and miles and miles and miles of shoreline. This guy never stopped. The one that ran by me,
Mhm.
he was by himself and he was standing up high, and that's all he was doing. And he ran every inch of shoreline in the whole entire Mule Slough, Back Lakes, Big Pocket. I could see him the whole time. We were the
Mhm.
only 2 boats out there, and midweek, uh, he never stopped to fish. And I know damn good well he ran over fish because I was in fish,
Mhm.
and I have no idea what his ultimate goal was.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to disparage. I mean, we're talking about friends of mine. Find fish how you're going to find fish. But again, we'll say it again, you're screwing up the future. But two, I redfish out of tower boats and I wade fish for trout. So there's a lot of times that I'm standing in the same spot for hours. And when a tournament comes up, I'll watch a tower boat burn down the shoreline. And then about 5 minutes later, when that one's out of sight, here comes another one.
Yeah.
And then another one. So the only person that saw crap was the first one.
Yeah.
You know, and that, you know, that's the other funny part to me is yeah, there's a bunch of them, but the first one kind of ran everything off. The second one, dang sure pushed them off. The third one made sure they're not coming back, and then the other 7, they just drive in circles.
That is true. When you're waiting, you just see it time
You
after
see
time
someone.
after time. It's so consistent. But all right, so I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, none of us have ever been in situations. I told the story about a year ago where I wanted to get into the I think it was Redfish Bay, and the tide was really out, but I thought I could get in there and drift into some, you know, shallow water. I got into the middle of the bay, and I mean, it was 3-4 inches, and all I did was just, and I started kicking up the mud. All I did was just not stop. And I just didn't stop, you know, at all, because if I did, I was going to be stuck, and then the rest you're trying to get out. So that, and he was asking like advice and tips and getting up and out and where to go and where not to go. That's kind of where I want to go right now. You do get into a situation like that. I generally, I don't know what you guys think. I generally just keep going to where I know there's some deep water and just get out of it and try not to disturb it as much as you can. The fish aren't that important, you know?
I mean, it goes back to if you put in, you can put out, and that's how I learned a ton of stuff. Once I put it in and out once or twice, I knew where the deep spots were. I knew where I could get up if I got in a bind. And then next time I might run a little bit further in there and so forth and so on. But there's no any advice that we give you probably setting us up for a lawsuit because there's no set of rules to any of it, you know. But if you're going slow, you can come out slow.
Mm-hmm.
Unless the tide drops out.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to keep an eye on that.
No, I went in and just came out slower,
Mhm.
attached to an airboat.
Well, the other thing, Scott, that I see all the time, and I am so anal about this, um, when you do get into some skinny water and you're poling or you're using your trolling motor or whatever, and then you fish or whatever, you catch fish, you don't catch fish, and you got to move and you want to move. It just drives me nuts when, like, right there, and there might be other boats around, they immediately, whoa, just come right out of it. And that's when you start seeing all these prop scars and idling out, like Caleb said. Just because you're in a hurry, you're that's what really gets me. That's what really ticks me off.
Yeah, it is illegal to cut up the grass on the bottom.
Mhm.
Period. End of stories. So you see a boat just chugging along there. I see it all the time. Guys,
Mhm.
they'll drift fish right into a shoreline where it's too damn shallow. And when the boat stops from drifting, then they fire up the big motor and idle out and chug through the grass. And you sit there and see it just turns it up. There's prop scars everywhere. There's a lot of places that there's not prop scars anymore because there's not even grass.
Mhm.
That's what it eventually happens. You keep cutting. There's one great point over here that I used to wade a lot way back, and it doesn't have a stitch of grass on it anymore because it was a shortcut. It got run over so many times. You cut up the grass bed over and over again. It changes the flow of water. There's more erosion. The grass bed goes away. So that's what they're trying to prevent by having that law. It's just damn near impossible for them to enforce it because they're not everywhere all the time. I could write a ticket pretty much every day on that if I were a game warden, but
Mhm.
they're not out there in the middle of it like we are every day. They don't get to see it. Uh,
Mhm.
I mean, they're out there, they're around, but they can't be everywhere.
Mhm.
So it's up to us to do it right. Uh, if you can if you got the right boat and you can jack your motor all the way up where it's not on the bottom, not it's up in a tunnel, up in a cat, and your boat will take off from that point. You're not technically cutting up the bottom. You're not causing any real problems. I I don't prefer doing that. I don't like it, but
Mhm.
the easiest way is to go find you a little deep spot and take off.
Yeah.
Uh, there's every mouth of every bayou out there is another 6 or 8 or 10 inches deep, if not 3 or 4 feet deep. And that's
Everywhere, every basis.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Every bay system's the same. If it's a narrow channel going to some back lakes nearby, or even just a channel between two lakes, if it's long enough to get your boat up, then you can go scooting out across that grass on plane with your motor jacked all the way up, and you'll never tear anything up. As far as the guys in Louisiana and the upper coast with the mud and the oysters and all that, there is some detriment to that. In the mud bottom holds a lot of life, and you are churning that up and you're tearing that up. Uh, it's all an estuary. It's all where everything grows up. There's all kind of critters that live in that mud. So it's best not to do it anywhere.
Yeah.
But I get it. People do it up on the upper coast and they churn through the mud and don't think anything about it. But you are still screwing up the bottom, and you're screwing up your equipment as much as anything. Ask Caleb about that.
Oh yeah. Get that oil, get that water sign.
I don't support anything he's saying right now.
A warning. And Parkoff talked about airboats. Just because you have an airboat that can run through the grass doesn't mean you have to run through the grass. You can go around that little island.
I can show you airboat pathways through the grass islands and the mangroves where it looks like a runway. I mean, they use it over and over and over again. It kills everything it's growing there. And then it gets a little bit lower, and then the water, we have a high tide, the water washes through there. Next thing you know, you got another opening, changes the hydraulics of the bay system, and you start having more erosion.
Well, hopefully, that'll help him and a lot of others listening here. But all right, Caleb, somebody said, I want to know all about Corkys. Obviously, that would be probably 2 shows worth. But let's dig in as much as we can. A lot of people call this Corky season. I know you throw them, and so do a lot of anglers. Obviously, top waters as well. But when you're talking about this time of year, and you're working your Corky, there is no set way. This is something you've talked about. But if you just gave a primer on when and how, when you're waiting largely, and I'm not going to sit here and say I've never thrown a Corky off of a boat, but it has to be very special circumstances. Just kind of take us through that.
I don't know, John. I don't have much practice talking about Corkys.
Shoot. I know better than that.
I don't love to throw them out of the boat either, unless maybe we're power pulled down or drifting extremely slowly. But I've got friends that throw them out of the boat all day long and they work. I just don't like it. But man, right now it's hard to mess up. There's still a bunch of little mullet and everything in the bay. Yes, the water's gotten cold. It's gotten down into the 50s a little bit in the 60s, but that's still not that. Work it real slow and mess it back and forth. Look around at the bait. Look and see what it's doing. If the bait's moving around pretty quick and jumping and flipping, then your Corky can move around pretty quick. And if you can make it jump and flip, I'm impressed. But we're still in the time of go put it in front of a fish and they're gonna eat it. And it's a dog walk. It's 7, 8, 10 cadence, and then let it pause and let it fall, and then do it over again. And if that doesn't work, try shorter ones, try longer ones, those sort of things. But we're not into the crazy stuff. And even when it gets really cold, you're not working it real slow every time. You're going to try that and see if it works. But if the fish are up and active and feeling good, you can move it on pretty quick. Go ahead.
But you throw them pretty much year round, and that's kind of a misconception, isn't it?
Yeah, no, the Corky season, the only thing Corky season means is you're probably not going to catch hardhead and ribbon fish on it when the water's cold, or gaff top, I guess. When the water's warm, you're going to catch more trash fish on your Corkies. But if there is a mullet in that bay that is anywhere between 2 and 6 inches long, then he's matching up to a Corky. It's a huge misconception that there's a Corky season. I think it's derived from that, wintertime has the heavier trout, and a lot of them get caught on Corkies, and so people think that's just the only time that you throw them. Could you arguably maybe catch more fish through the summer on Corky and on plastic and through the fall on plastic? Probably so. but Corkies entertain me. They're good for catching fish. They catch good fish, and I throw it all year long.
Do you
There's
change
no
the hooks
complaint.
on yours?
I do not. I do
Mhm.
not. Some people put those red Diachis on them. I'm not sure why. They come with a number 4 round bend BMC treble, and when I replace it, I put a number 4 round bend BMC treble right back on it.
Mhm.
Uh, I like that one because it's easier to straighten the hook out. So whenever I hang it on shell, I can get my Corky back.
What
And
makes you decide fast sinking, slow sinking, etcetera?
uh, man, that's a preference thing. Pat is amazing with a floating Corky.
Mhm.
Floating Corky has a bigger cork and no rattle in it. And Pat does really well with it. Me, I go a little bit different route. I almost always throw the regular ones that sink. I just bend it in a different way. So when I work it, it works up instead of staying, where it's at in the column. So I'll work it up and let it fall down, work it up and let it fall down. Where Pat's is more of it kind of stays in the same water column and hangs out. There's little nuances of the floater that I'm not real fond of. Now, if I own floaters, if I get in a situation where I need one, I'll
Mhm.
dang sure throw it. But I'm gonna throw a double D before I'm gonna throw a floater most of the time. Is the double D is a little bit smaller of an offering, but when you quit working it, it floats up. It
Right.
slowly comes to the top, and that's what I do that.
Now, a lot of our listeners know this, but maybe you can just add some clarity there. But a lot of our listeners don't, in terms of tuning your corky. Nose versus tail versus both. What makes you want to do that? Because I really want to, like some of our list. This was a good question. Like I want to get into it. I work top waters. I'm not exactly sure what I need to do different. So tuning it, and some people may not even know. You can bend it down, etc.
So there's every Corky isn't built equal. Um, when I put a new Corky on, I'll usually throw it about 30 feet out in front of me, kind of look at how it's sinking, look at how it works back to me. Does it twist? Does it turn? Or is it nice and straight? Um, if I can, if it right out of the back, that's great. But B, if I see it spinning or something like that, then I'll start making sure that everything's straight down the backbone, straight from front to back. And once I get there, that's typically pretty close to what I'll use in a floater situation. If
Hmm.
I need it to stay up even higher, I'll bend the tail up just a little bit, like, maybe 15 degrees, 20 degrees if I'm guessing.
Hmm.
And that tail being up will pick it up. Now, my 90% of application is when it comes out of the bag, I bend the nose down as aggressively as I can without, just imagine taking it out of the bag and giving the nose a good push downwards.
Yeah.
I'm not like tweaking on it and spending extra time. Just give it a good push downwards. And then the back, the tail on the back, I'll bend it down 25, 30 degrees. I don't think it's quite 45. And what that does is when you're working it, that nose digs and it keeps it in the water column I want it to be in. And the tail, by bending it down, if the nose is just a little bit down, then the tail is almost straight,
Hmm.
right? Um, and that's my typical application. If it starts spinning or something, again, either the tail's bent too far down
You don't want it to
or it's
spin.
not there. You don't want it to spin. You want it to if you can make it do what a Spook Junior does in the walk, you've got it where you want it to be.
Yeah.
When it just walks back and forth real nice. That's where it wants to be. Um, and you don't have to do all the bending, but it makes it more efficient and it makes it a little bit easier to get it there.
I think it sinks a little more naturally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what the bend does on the sink, and I think the fall on the sink's probably about a foot every 2 seconds or something like
I was
that.
just gonna ask you that because some like, how long do you wait? What do you do, etcetera?
It's different everywhere. So when Baffin's really salty, you asked me about changing out hooks, and
Mhm.
in that spot, I might put some heavier hooks on to get it down. I might put some washers above the split rings to get it down. When you go somewhere that's not as salty, it's going to sink a little bit faster. I've been in Baffin before where I was throwing a broken back and I couldn't make it sink. It just
Mhm.
it just sat on the top. I had to change everything out and put weight on it.
Mhm.
Um, but but yeah, and then somebody asked
Yeah.
how deep I'd work a corky.
What's the deepest you could work a corky?
Well, I mean, somebody in Florida is gonna make fun of me, but me personally, 5 or 6 feet is probably as deep as I'm personally gonna throw one. If I need to go deeper than that, I'm gonna just use something different. But I'm typically throwing a quirky in, a foot and a half to 4 feet of water, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And I mean, they're fun. And Scott, I don't know if you have anything to add. I've thrown them quite a bit, but I don't think either of us. Well, maybe you, but I certainly haven't thrown them and know about them the way Caleb does. But is that something that a go to down where you are, and what's been your experience? Every once in a while in fishing, a reel comes along that changes the game. That reel is here, and if you're not using one, your friends are, and they're probably catching more fish. For sure, they're fishing with more confidence and comfort. Bates reels are the fishing industry's original CNC milled, one-piece aluminum, low-profile frame, built to last, it's built to fish. All Bates reels saltwater ready and good to go. You know I've got them on my boat. You should too. All reels, 3-year no BS warranty, and they mean that. And a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're dissatisfied, you will not be. I say it all the time. It is true. No bull, just baits.
I don't mess with them. And redfish will absolutely destroy them. And yeah, that's most of what I'm fishing for is redfish. I really don't want a lure that gets destroyed by one fish. And so I don't mess with it a whole lot. I mean, I threw them when I was in Galveston a good bit. And one particular tournament, it was so cold there was ice forming on our eyes. And he was asking how deep. That got me thinking about it. We were fishing a sand pit that had some big trout in it, and we were letting it settle forever. I mean, it was throw it out and just sit and wait, and then you could finally feel it hitting on bottom. I don't know how deep that sand pit is, and I caught the state record oyster catcher. Yeah, old dogfish. I mean, that thing was about a foot, foot and a half long.
Here we go.
Yeah, got a cookie.
It ate the hell out of that cork.
By the way, I'm not editing that out. That's staying in. Normally, I would mark it. I would mark it and say, "Okay, 4506." Let me edit that out for old Scott. That's staying in.
Yeah. Damn oyster catcher, he had that corky sideways in his mouth and ripped it all to hell. Those things got some pretty vicious teeth on them. But yeah, I just don't throw them a whole lot.
Yeah. In Scott's application, if he wanted a twitch bait, the double D would be his thing. And that's another thing with me and Corkys. If I'm in like just a couple of feet of water like Scott, I'm probably going to throw that double D first. And I was thinking we stood and fished drop offs where you throw it out there and wait 15 or 20 seconds. And there's been a light bulb come on in that scenario where we throw it out to the current was going left or right, and we'd throw it out to our left. And as we were letting it sink, by the time it got down where we wanted to, it'd be, almost in front of us. So we got to where we would throw it. And then, when we were on the water column, we would just kind of twitch it and let the current carry it, left and right in front of us. And man, that was really effective for catching fish that were feeding in that current.
Well, it's addictive. Every time I've thrown a corky, it's gone in spurts. Usually I'm waiting, and it's maybe it's a winter weight or something, and I'll throw that mix in a top water or plastic. But once you get that hit and that real fish, I mean, there's truly not a whole lot like it.
There's something that happens on a really good one where you feel them hit it, but then you can feel it rattle around in their mouth. It's a whack and then a yeah, and man, that's when you've got the right one, and you just set the hook, and there's no give anywhere. You're just just bends and everything. It's like the fish freezes for a second, and you freeze for a second. Y'all just pull on each other,
and it pulls. I've had my rod. You get that feeling where they're going to pull the rod out of your hand. You have such a good strong hit. I've had that on Corkys more than any other bait, where it's like, whoa, what was that?
They're mad at them. They are mad at them.
They get mad at them.
And I think, I don't know. I think a plastic, I don't know why they would do that, but man, they get mad at them.
Yeah. And I do want to shout out Angler U. I mentioned it earlier, but you got several comments here that you do have a terrific video on there on Angler U, regarding working the Corkys. Just give us a little thumbnail on that, and we'll talk about what you have on Angler U this week as well, since we're here.
Yeah, no, there. I've got a lot of videos on Angler. I say a lot. I've got probably 3 or 4 in there. Pat has them. We with Pat's, there's a lot of underwater footage. We did it in like a big Olympic pool and had cameras underwater where you could see what he's talking about. And Pat even went on to do it with plastics and stuff like that. Like I said, I haven't had much practice talking about Corkys, but we've done quite a bit. If you're not an Angler U guy, my YouTube, there's several Corky videos on there, and then Nestor said something I forgot I did. I did a long video with Eastern Current. They're a YouTube or podcast or something from the East Coast, and we did nothing but Corkys for like an hour or two. But yeah, there's all kinds of avenues out there.
And who do you have?
Tonight we have Dustin Nichols. We're adding 4 kayakers to the show, and I'll give y'all we'll give the homeroom class the heads up. So we're adding Dustin Nichols. We're adding Josh Johnson, which Josh is the guy that seems like every time he puts up a video of redfish on Facebook gets 200,000 views. We're adding Ben Maldonado, who Ben's pretty well known in that world and does very good camera work. And we're adding Scott, help me out here, FTU guy.
The kayaker?
Yeah, dude with the cool mustache. Daniel Hayes.
Oh, Daniel Hayes.
So all 4 of them are going to start becoming like regular contributors and putting stuff up. Because there's a lot of more people that have kayaks and stuff that they can't apply what we're talking about on Tower Boat, but we have 4 guys that are going to be helpful.
Yeah, well, we've talked about it, and we have our kayak guys as well. All right, Scott, Caleb was on the last one. I'm going to start with you here because you sent something. This has been a couple of weeks, but I really think there's a good topic in here talking about, I think you posted something about researchers and coastal planners now have access to the most detailed underwater mapping of Matagorda Bay ever released. So put a pin in that part of the question because I want to know exactly what that means. And this was after the 2025 bathymetry data set on the Texas Geographic Information Data Hub. And it goes on and on to name the project, but it provides high resolution measurements of the bay floor that are now available to the public at no cost. So this is, and by the way, that word is bathymetry, Caleb. And so how do we feel about this?
Is that where you see words backwards and stuff?
No, that's what your teacher said about you, even though you didn't have it. So I was like, at first, Scott, I was like, cool. And then I went, I don't know. I mean, it's neat, but like the most detailed, how detailed, what are we talking about here?
It says it goes down to, they did it to a square meter. They use side scan, down scan, all different types, and put together these data sets, and it's supposedly an exact mapping of the bottom of the bay, which I posted it because it just seemed kind of interesting to me. I haven't had time to really dig into it. I've looked at a couple of the maps, and they might show you something, that be interesting for your fishing. There were a couple of ridges that I found that out in the middle of the open bay where you just kind of expect it all to be kind of one depth. And there was some ridges out there that might work out, for like summertime, deep water, when it's really hot and something goes from 6 or 8 feet to 10 feet and there's a ridge along there. It's hard to tell if it's an old oyster bed or anything, but if it's oysters and it's deep like that, that would be an excellent place to go hit it during the middle of the summer. I don't know. It's fun to play with. I don't know that it really does a whole lot for us.
That's what she said.
Real skinny. I mean, the deep water guys, they might get something out of it.
That's kind of where
I would love to have it on the beachfront.
Yes.
If they did the beachfront, say out to the state line at 9 miles,
all hell would break loose. All hell would break loose.
It would be cool as hell. Of course, it would give away a lot of things.
That's what I'm saying.
A whole lot of numbers would be public then.
Yeah. And I guess I was just being selfish because as much time as we've spent on the water, we know little areas, and I'm like, well, damn, like, especially because it said Matagorda, and Caleb, you know this, I've spent so many decades on Matagorda. I know little spots that, whether it's shell or random, deeper cut or a hole or something. I'm like, well, now everybody's going to know, I was like, I guess that's good, but it's coming anyway, whether we like it or not.
Well, chances are most everybody knew about your secret spot anyway.
Oh, not some of them. I can tell you that.
I've got ones nobody knows about. Secret.
So what about that, Caleb? Like, I'm thinking of one spot in particular, and Scott may say everybody knows it. I think maybe 5 people know it. Maybe 5 people.
What spot is it? We'll tell you.
I'll send you the mark. I'll send you the mark. It's luscious. It's delicious.
I think it got erased by the dredging they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's there no more.
She's not there anymore.
No, I don't think she is. I think she got a mud bath on her boobie.
You're talking about the nipple?
I'm talking about the nipple,
which is how it's marked. It's marked.
When it gets cold, it gets hard to find. You know what I'm
saying? And people are going to laugh and say, "Can you say that on the radio, on the podcast?" Yes, you can. Animals have them,
it's a geographic formation.
It looks exactly like that, and it has been very, very good to me. That nipple has been good to me. It has been very, very good. But I think I already sent you that spot, didn't I? Or you knew it. You knew it.
We knew it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was one of the 5 that already knew it.
So it's 4 others you got to guess. But by the way, it's probably, if they did it in Matagorda, Scott, it's coming to every bay, right?
I've glanced around on their site. They've got a lot. I mean, it was showing 1 through 24 results of 2,000 and some odd numbers, 2,000 some odd maps. But they've got inland, they got lakes, they've got. I mean, it's a lot.
I think it'd be a lot more applicable to a lake. The bay, the middle of West Matagorda Bay is like space to me, though.
Right.
I don't know a hell of a lot about it.
A lot of our bay systems are like that. And that's what I meant when I found that ridge, when I was just kind of poking around. I don't know what it is. Yeah, no idea whether it's a mud hump or sand hump or what, but it was just kind of interesting that there was a high spot in amongst this desert of flat bottom.
What do you think hang out on that high spot? How deep is it there? Like, how high is it?
I want to say it was like 10 feet of water, and it went up to like 6 feet.
Oh, no kidding!
On this little ridge kind of deal. That was
the kind of fish that we're looking for travel enough to find that spot, you reckon?
I don't know.
What if it's covered in luscious bull reds all summer?
Nestor says everyone's going to be driving around Matagorda Bay, say, "You know where the nipple is?"
There's a lady up at the
please don't.
named Kelly.
Please don't.
She knows exactly where it's at. Go ask her. Tell her Caleb sent you.
And then
she has a map of it. Ask her if just tell her you want to see it.
Yeah. And then hold on to your hat.
Oh, by the way, her husband's the big dude out there on the shrimp boat. But
hey, speaking of shrimp boat, are y'all familiar with the Shrimp Diva? You've heard Mark Nichols on the podcast, and you know he's caught more fish and changed the fishing game like few others. Mark and DOA Lures have everything you need and want on the water. That's what we use. DOALures.com is the website. Of course, you got the classic DOA shrimp, but top waters as well. I'm a big fan of the PT7. You see us using that all the time. That is DOA. Get to a retailer near you. They are all over. Or go to DOALures.com and be sure to listen for Mark Nichols on this podcast. They have revolutionized the fishing industry, and they keep doing it. DOALures.com. She's all over Facebook. Her father-in-law, I believe.
Yeah, I'm more into real big divas.
The Pops, he's been on the shrimp boat for 60 years or something, and she's been over the last 5-6 years helping him out. I think I'm gonna have her on. Do an interview with her anyway on the podcast.
She get in here with us.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And she's a big Texans fan, and she was out at the tailgate the other day. And so we're trying to set something up, but good shrimping stories, which we've all talked about, but she's been on the front lines for several years. Yes, a lot of our listeners here on the live YouTube stream are already posting about, she's awesome. She knows her stuff, et cetera. It'll be good, especially from the shrimp, population standpoint.
I don't know who this is, but Scott, I bet you $20 that John didn't listen to shrimp stories from an ugly girl.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Absolutely not. All right. So let's get to what would Scott do? What would Caleb do? Captain Dean, as I mentioned, is out on the ranch doing a lot of hard work. Do you think he's really doing some hard work or not? I think
He's
he
sitting
is.
in a deer stand. That's why he
Yeah,
didn't want to come on. He used the excuse he didn't have internet, so he could go sit in a deer stand.
The last text we got, he was butt naked in a deer stand. Do you feel like he does anything else?
Naked?
It was hot. He was. I
Oh,
hope he had tidy whities on.
yeah. So, and I mentioned the YouTube stream. We record every Tuesday here at 3:30. You can watch us live, and we post the videos and the podcast simultaneously around 6 o'clock. So, if you wherever you get your podcast, you can subscribe. Really appreciate it. I'm messing around with some year-end numbers I like to send you guys, and so just a quick thank you to everybody listening, because the numbers are kind of head spinning for this past year. Upwards of 400,000 just on the podcast alone. So that's kind of cool. But let's get to what you guys would do. I will say this: I'm making tamales on Saturday, so I am actually not. By the way, you guys got some tamales coming your way as well. But I heard you, Camille. So I'm actually not going to be out there this weekend. But what is it looking like from where I am? Maybe a little rain, but the temperatures are going to be a little better, Scott, aren't they?
Yeah, I was supposed to fish tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow's bad still.
Yeah, somebody from my old homicide days was going to come down and fish with me tomorrow. But yeah, 95% chance of rain tomorrow with estimates around an inch and a half.
Yeah, you may
So
have to scratch that one.
we scratched that one. We're going to do that in January probably. The rest of the week doesn't look bad. We got a little front coming. It's going to just blow a little bit for a day or so on Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday look really good. And Sunday looks excellent.
Friday afternoon, if you want to do some afternoon, at least where I go down in Aransas, looks pretty good too.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean,
Yeah.
early morning, it's supposed to be blowing 20, gusting to 35.
Yeah, but then it comes down a little bit.
So then it'll drop down a good bit by the afternoon. But Saturday's fine. It's switching back out of the southeast around here. Temperatures in the mid 60s, water temperature probably, high 60s, low 60s, and should all be good.
Caleb, how about Matagorda? Are you going to be in Matagorda? Are you going anywhere else?
I'll probably hang around Matagorda. Yeah, what Scott said, we've got a little front coming in Friday night or Friday morning, one of the two. Sunday the wind's pretty calm. Looks like some fun. I think me and some ex-Aggies are going to go sightcast redfish Sunday and Monday, and then they're going to give some baseball lessons to the boys after we're done fishing.
Hopefully everybody will be happy. Got that ball game at 11 a.m. on Saturday too.
How you feel about it? That's just never sounds.
I think they'll win. Now I will say this: people have been like, "Oh, I don't know, Miami. They are dangerous. They did beat Notre Dame as well." But everybody's, kind of saying, well, the Longhorns, took the Aggies out in the second half and are thinking, okay, maybe they're sliding or they've hit their zenith or whatever. Don't forget the first 11 games here. And don't forget that their running back Le'Veon Moss is going to be back, supposedly. And I think and at home playoff game, I think they're going to be all right. I will say this, though. They have the toughest road of anybody. If they beat Miami, oh man, if they beat Miami, then all they have to do is play Ohio State. If they beat Ohio State, then all they have to do is probably play Georgia. And if they beat Georgia, then all they have to do is probably play Indiana in the title game.
You notice Texas Tech was never said in any of those games.
But Texas Tech is really good. Really good. Yeah,
I want to say, hey, I was a huge Tech fan until they fired Leach, and that was to me that was the equivalent of firing Jimmy Johnson. Like, you just don't do that. You're not going to you're not going to recover from this. And
Yep. Yeah. All right, boys. Fun show. I'm sure Dean will be back next week. I'm sure he feels really guilty about missing today's show, but you got to do what you got to do when you have no Wi-Fi and you're in a deer blind. But which I don't think a lot of deer blinds have Wi-Fi, so that's just me. So he was actually not lying. You guys really appreciate it. Don't forget, we got a lot of stuff you can get on that's pinned on the top of the page. Don't forget to subscribe. You guys have been great. Catch them up. We'll talk to you next time.
You can find a nipple in Dean's deer blind.
If you're listening to this podcast, then I know you're passionate about the outdoors, and you also live for those moments, not just fishing, sharing stories and laughs around that pit or grill. Texas Star Grill Shop is a proud sponsor of the Bite Me YouTube channel. Before you set off for your next outdoor adventure, don't forget to stop by Texas Star Grill Shop to pick up your bottle of OG sauce as well. Texas Star Grill Shop. The next time you catch those big fish, celebrate it around that grill. From Texas Star Grill Shop, proud sponsor of this Bite Me YouTube channel and the Bite Meat podcast. Subscribe today.